Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another one of my YouTube videos. It's been a few weeks. Well, or at least 2 weeks. Might seem longer. We've been hunkered down here with all the coronavirus stuff. I'm kind of time stamping this a little bit by talking about it, but hey, we're going through some stuff right now, and our gaming has become kind of more important than ever to us in here. And so I'm keeping up my little guy for my Animal Crossing there, Tom. Yeah, this is an essential service to be able to, kind of get into our world of Tamriel, hang out here, feel free to roam around, because right now a lot of us can't do that. So hopefully this will kind of pep your spirits up and get you excited about the Magicka Warden. Now, the Magicka Warden build that I have is not meta. It's not even what a lot of people would choose to use in here. It's actually an adaptation from my Necromancer build that I did a video for a little while back. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if I can do this on a Warden. Now, I'm a little weird because with my Warden, I like the bear. The bear's fun, okay? But the bear's hard to control. So I'm like, I don't want to do a build with a bear. And I really don't like delayed attacks. So things like for the Necro, the Blast Bones, it's functioning much better now. But I don't like that delay. I don't like that I click something and then in 3 seconds it's going to go off. Because I'm like, well, in 3 seconds, I've done a lot of stuff since then. I might have moved around. I might have killed somebody, already, killed an enemy. So I'm like, I don't really like that. So I'm like, how can I come up with a build that will work? And I'm like, you know what? My heavy attack that I do with my Necromancer, with the Infallible Aether and Perfected False God set, I wonder if that would work. And thematically, with the cold, it would work to have it with my Ice Hearts in there. I'm like, you know what? Let's give that a try. So I did, and I really enjoyed it, and I've taken them through the last couple of weeks through VMA, and very successfully in there, under an hour for both times. I'm kind of calling this my, overworld VMA, have some fun, definitely my own style of play within here. Now, if you like the shocks and you want to use that on this build, go right ahead. If there's something else you want to substitute in, go right ahead. This is kind of the basic stuff for me. I like keeping it simple, and it works. It goes with my play style. So maybe something, even if this isn't exactly something that you would use, it maybe a part of it might be. It might open your eyes to something. Plus, I'm kind of digging, getting into heavy attacks a little bit here because, we might possibly be going to more of heavy attacks, doing more damage. We're testing out the theory on the PTS right now. So anyway, so enough of the chit chat. Let me show you what I've got. All right, I'm gonna stop your juggling, sir. Thank you very much. All right. So first off, all right, this is Magicka Incognito. Everybody's going to be like, what? You're not playing a Khajiit? Well, this was my Breton Warden, way back in the day when Morrowind came out, so I've had him for a few years. And we kind of explained the RP backstory of it is that Khajiits under a certain moon, born on a certain moon, actually can be shapeshifters. So I'm going to be coming out with an RP story about that pretty soon and stuff. So this is my character, Magicka, my love of orange. All right, but incognito. He has shapeshift into a Breton warden. So, all right. So he is a Magicka Templar. So I keep saying Templar. Magicka Warden. So he's a Magden in there. So all the points are into Magicka. Let's see. I don't know if I have my food on for my numbers. My numbers look a little bit low. Let's do this. Let's put on the food that I would use if I went in the Arteum fishbowl. So let's get some good numbers right there back in here. All right. So now we're looking at 38K, 19K, 10K. Recovery 900, which is really good. But again, it's a heavy attack build, so sustain isn't my biggest issue with that. Spell damage 21, 64.9 in there. We'll talk a little bit about that between each bars as we're looking at it. I think I am on my front bar in there. The Mundus that I'm using is the crit damage. Love the crit damage within that. And we are getting some stuff, some Minos Slayer, Berserk, and stuff from the things from what I'm wearing and from just being a warden and my passives and such. So, all right. So that's kind of the beginning setup with this. Let's look at what I'm wearing. All right. For my monster helms, I am using Ice Heart. Oh, I haven't upgraded that to gold. I'm going to have to do that. So my Ice Heart, still a wonderful set. Kind of goes with the theme of cold and chill, so I kind of like it for the RP of it as well. I've talked about this wonderful set before. You got 813 to spell crit. For those that you don't know about Ice Heart's wonderful. If you look at the thing where it says 2 items, when you deal critical damage, and like I said, my Mundus and everything's about crit, you have a 20% chance to gain a damage shield that absorbs 4,800 damage over 6 seconds. While the damage shield holds, you deal 810 frost damage to all enemies within 5 meters of you every second. This effect can occur every 6 seconds. Again, wonderful. This build is great for mobs. You can just, and I do this a lot, is that I go into just a pack of mobs and just kind of go to town. Between this and some of the other things that I have on there and my skills, it's a great one. You can just kind of wander around. If you get like 5 or 6 mobs on you, you're fine. Going into public dungeons, piece of cake. It's a wonderful kind of burn them all down kind of build while being protected. So we start with that. The other thing that we've brought back, of course, is Perfected False Gods. That was in Divines. I've got everything in Divines, by the way. So Perfected False Gods, one of the great sets that's going on right now. You can use regular False Gods as well. The only difference with False Gods and Perfected False Gods is 1,000 Magicka. If you look down through the items, the 2, 3, 4, when you see number 5 items, the second 5 item says adds 10, 96 or 95 maximum Magicka. That's the only thing that's the difference. So you're just going to lose out on a little bit of Magicka. No worries. So regular False God's good. So feel free to find a group, go in there on normal, into normal Sunspire, pick you up, a set of the Perfected False Gods, and you'll be good to go. Let's see. So I've talked about this one before. Again, gives you spell crit, gives you that minor slayer that you saw, which increases damage in dungeons, trials, and arenas. More spell crit, some spell damage. There's the maximum Magicka going up. And then the big one reduces the cost of Magicka abilities by 8%. So it helps out with the sustain. It helps us with a little bit of restore. And when you kill an enemy, you go a little faster. A little movement speed bonus. So I have that. Let's see. So I have that on the body parts there. For the weapon and also the jewelry, I have the Lightning Staff Infallible Aether. I have it in Precise. Infallible Aether, the big thing with this one, it's got spell crit and slayer and damage and spell crit. The big thing is the number 5 item. Your heavy attacks deal an additional 900 damage. Enemies you damage with a fully charged heavy attack are inflicted with minor vulnerability for so many seconds, increasing their damage taken by 8%. So that's what this set is kind of built around, the Infallible Aether. Now again, you can go, this is actually drops off of all the Craglorn trials. So you can go into Craglorn, even the normal will get you these items. So you go through the normal with a group of friends in a guild, boom, and you'll be able to get this stuff pretty easy. It drops pretty regularly in there. So they're not that bad sets to get. Do you have to do a trials? Yeah, you do. But if you find a wonderful guild to be able to go through with that, the guild that I'm in, the Dark Bunny Hood, runs trials every week. Myself, I'll bring my Jazz Cats through, from time to time. So it's not that bad of of items to get within there. So don't let the fact that it's from trials dissuade you from getting it. So it works really nice. It's a very nice set for this. And like I said, I've got it on the jewelry as well. And then my back bar, I use the Maelstrom Lightning Staff. The reason of using Maelstrom Lightning Staff is because of that number 2 item. Your light and heavy attacks deal additional 1300 damage to enemies in my wall of elements in there. You could get another Infallible Aether. You could put something else on there for that back bar. You'll lose a little bit of damage on it, but don't worry about it. It's, this does, pump up the damage a little bit, but it's not so much that if you don't have it, if you don't like running Maelstrom, or you're not able to complete Maelstrom, and not lucky enough to get a Lightning Staff, because it's hard for staffs to drop in VMA, don't worry about it. You can have something else in there until you get this, if you're working towards it, or if you never get it, you can either double up on the Lightning Staff and you'll be fine. The build still works in there. All right. So we've got all of that going. Let's go to our skills. What am I running? Okay. I am running, like I said, I'm going kind of basic. Let's start with the back bar first. With the back bar, I'm going with Unstable Wall of Storms. All right. That is the morph of the, if you don't know this, because a lot of times I've watched videos when I was just starting out, and they would show this. I'm like, what is that the morph of? I have no idea in there. That is of your second ability here in the Destruction Staff. You've got your Unstable Wall of Elements. You have that choice between that and Elemental Blockade. You want this one because it explodes at the end, and right now that does more damage. You get your Mystic Orb. All right, Mystic Orb is really great. I always love it because you can strategically place it against enemies so that you can, try to get both of them. Am I going to get both of them? Oh, I got one over there. Oh, I did get him over there. Yep, there you go. So yeah, so when you're damaging stuff, you can kind of plan where you're going to throw the orbs out so that it gets a tick on everybody in there. I always like that. It comes from your Undaunted. So you do have to get your Undaunted up. You might have seen this with healers. If you had a healer in your group and they had one that looks more golden, that is the healing morph. This is now the damage morph in there. Then I do the Ice Fortress. Ice Fortress is one of our class abilities from Winter's Embrace, from the more tanking abilities. Ice Fortress is one of the morphs on there, so you get some protection. So it's kind of being used as it's not like a shield, but it's giving me, lessening the damage that I take. I also take the Blue Betty. It's great for resources. And the big thing is that it gives me major sorcery, increasing my spell damage by 20%. So I always want to make sure that that's on, so I do more. And then I do my kind of relaxing thing. I have Inner Light. Inner Light gives, when slotted, your max Magicka is increased by 5%, and your crit rating goes up. And I have it on both bars. Again, simplicity. I love simplicity. When you have Inner Light on both bars, you're not clicking anything in number 5. You don't have to worry about it. All right? It makes things a little bit more relaxed. I like that. I'm becoming an older gamer now. And so anything I can do to kind of relax and be able to take things slow and be able to do it, I think is always appealing. And then in the very back, I have the, for my ulti, I should say, I have the Destruction ulti in there. So increases my damage by 15%. Let's see if it's fiery, if it's icy. Thunderous increases the duration. That's mine because it's I got a lightning staff by 2 seconds, which is nice. So, all right, front bar. I always try to lay down 3 AOEs. So AOE, AOE, flip, AOE. So I picked Winter's Revenge. Is 3 AOEs too much? Could be. But again, like I said, I'm doing kind of the way I like to play. So what I always like to do is that I put down, I can use the big guy. All right. I like putting down one AoE. I do a light attack, another AoE, and then I flip bars for my animation cancel, and then I put down that. And with my Ice Heart, I now have, kind of 4 damage over times going on. Like I said, this is a build that I like jumping in the middle of things and be able to take out mobs really easily. So like going through, public dungeons and dungeons, very easy to do and be able to not die. Then I have my kind of spammable. I say kind of spammable because the Cliff Racer, it's wonderful. Actually, through my passes, I get a little bit of I get some health back through the passive, which is nice. But like I said, heavy attacks are kind of my bread and butter. So I like doing the heavy attacks. So I will do a heavy attack. It puts that minor vulnerability on it, so it's great. So what I'll do, and also, this guy's kind of too far away for me to show, but it has splash damage with the heavy attack. So if there were a few enemies around there, it would also jump and damage those enemies. So again, my heavy attack is like an AoE. So what I'll usually do is that if I have a lot of mobs around me, I will do the AoE, my Ice Heart has clicked off, and then I'll just do the heavy attacks and let everything splash. If I'm down to the last enemy, or it's just one target, I'll do the heavy attack, but then I'll just kind of hold down the heavy attack, preload that attack so that it goes off. And do that, kind of almost like a heavy attack weaving with that. So, or if I know, because I know this will do about 15k, if I see they're about dead, sometimes I'll just double up on the bird and boom, and kill them. The last thing that I have is Arctic Blast. Now, I love this skill because A, it looks cool, and B, it does damage and gives you health. So envelop yourself in winter winds, instantly healing for 5470 health, and an additional 656 health every 1 second for 5 seconds. While the effect persists, winds pulse outwards, dealing 1752 frost damage every second. Nearby enemies. So enemies hit by the effect 3 times are stunned for 4 seconds. The healing from this ability scales with your max health. So my max health is kind of the weakest thing of what's going on. Well, actually, it's not. I shouldn't say that. My max health is actually at 19, so it's not too bad. So it really kind of beholds me to use it in there. So again, that's another AoE. So it's AoE, 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 AoE. And by the time usually I hit this one off, my Ice Heart has procced. So I have 1, 2, put that down, Ice Heart proc, so 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 AoEs going around me. So when I do this, I'm going boom, 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 and then I put on that. So, and 6 because of my heavy attack. So where you see the damage here, if you look kind of in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm not doing any kind of parsing food or anything like that, but you see how I'm like at 24k damage. If you look at my little DPS meter down here, it's at 24k damage. But that's 24k damage to everybody. That's kind of cool. So it's and the main target, of course, gets the most out of my heavy attack. But everybody is getting that damage. So it's not like, oh, I'm featuring one and then I got to move to another and move to another and move to another. All right, kind of more like with my Nightblade build. This one, boom, we're getting at. So we got 6 AoEs So like I said, you can stand in the middle of a mob and you're going to be fine. You would throw up your your fortress to help out with that. My Blue Betty to even do more damage, and then I could pop off a ultimate, or I really like the Northern Storm where it follows you around. That ultimate. Oh, I didn't talk about my last two. So my last two by Bird of Prey for a little bit of speed, so you move around faster. But you also get Minor Berserk, increasing your damage by 8%. So that helps out a lot. Plus the Northern Storm in here. So let's see. Twist of a violent storm around you, dealing 5170 frost damage every second for 8 seconds to enemies, reducing their movement speed, increasing your magicka by 15% for 30 seconds. You and your nearby allies gain major protection, reducing the damage taken by 30%. So, I mean, you are, even though you're not a tank, you're quite tanky. So if I did everything in here, okay, and we'll put on a little bit, we'll go a little bit of spell power in there. If I do my spell power, get all my things going here, boom, and I hit my thing, my shield, that, and then I do my ulti, get this down, get this down, get that down, get that down, and I start doing this, boom, look at this. And I can move around within that too. I'm in the 30s now. All right, I was in the 30s there. So for a little while, I'm getting 30, K plus 31, 32, boom, and everything in the area just melts. That's an ice joke. It melts, but I'll move on. So so everything just goes down. I love it. All right, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. So yeah, so that's all of my setup within there. All right, and then the last thing we have to talk about is my my CP points. My CP points complement this really well. The big part of this is the Thaumaturge. So in Ritual, 81 points on here, so increases the damage done with damage over time effects. So I'm going to get almost a 25%, uptick in that. I put 18 in the Master of Arms, increased damage with direct damage. Staff Expert increases damage done with light and heavy attacks. I go Elfborn, Elemental, and Spell Erosion, 61, 56, 35. Elfborn increases your crit damage. Elemental increases your Flame Frost, Shock, and Magic damage. Increases spell penetration. Then we move on to Shadow, Tumbling, and Shadow Ward. Just 20 in each, reducing my dodge rolling and cost of block. Arcanist, increase the Magicka recovery. Tenacity, increases the Magicka from fully charged heavy attacks. We want that, so I get a lot of resources back. Warlord reduces the cost of break free when you're stunned. I had a few points left over, so I put them into Sprint and put them into Bashing. Nothing into Lord. This is kind of your basic setup for just being a little bit more stout. Thick-skinned reduces damage taken from damage over time. That was 48. 49 into Hardy reduces damage taken from physical, poison, disease. Elemental Defender reduces damage from flame, frost, and shock and magic. And then Spell Shield increases your spell resistance, which is always good. And then Ironclad reduces your damage taken against direct damage attacks by 24%. And there we go. So that's the setup. Let's see, is there anything else I need? I think we're good. Yeah. So, like I said, wonderful build. Definitely not a meta build as far as that it doesn't use shocks. It doesn't use some other things. It is a heavy attack build. It could be something that gets even stronger. Like I said, if they do go through with some of the changes they're thinking about that we're testing. But we don't know. We don't know with those. So, yeah. So wonderful build. I love it. I think you guys will love it and have a lot of fun with it. It was fun to build it too because, like I said, it's you have to get into some trials, to be able to do it, and it becomes like a collaborative effort. It's like, hey, I'm looking for infallible Aether. Oh, okay, I'll look out for you. And then with normal Sunspire, it's always fun to fight dragons and look in the chests and everything. It's like, hey, does anybody have any perfected false gods, stuff? And so it becomes kind of a group effort thing, which is always a lot of fun to do. And then yeah, and then getting into VMA with it, if that's something that you really like doing, it works really, really well. It's very, very relaxed. I know it's hard to say relaxed VMA, but it really is. It has a lot of versatility in there with your shield and your health, and a lot of AOE stuff for any of the things that come along, but still has enough power to take out the end bosses of every level within that. So, all right, gang, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now that I'm kind of, not kind of, we're all quarantined and stuff in there, I'm going to try to make a couple of more videos fairly shortly and release them, this week and into next week. And yeah, we'll go from there. So I hope you're enjoying the game. It's a wonderful, adventure for us to be in while we're going through all this stuff, with the virus. And I want to personally thank, all the people that are working on the game, that are keeping the game going in there, because it's really giving a lot of us an outlet to be able to hang out with our friends and to be creative in housing and builds and a lot of things like that. So thank you so much. I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.